Hey, this is Crystal with Reality Check, and today we're having a session on love and marriage. That's right, it's a conversation that we have a lot of times with singles on relationships, but today we're talking to the ladies from Love and Marriage Huntsville from OWN's hit reality series about the reality of love and an actual marriage. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you.
So you guys are back for the second half of season 1,
Yes.
correct? With Love and Marriage Huntsville. And this series is a little different to me than others because it really does show the reality of marriage. A lot of shows you see like people trying to get married, and we see people, aspiring to get to that point. But this show actually shows real couples that have been married for a substantial amount of time, and even a new couple that is getting married but still having the substantial years, behind them. So it's a little bit different. I'm going to start with you, Melody. How long have you been married?
Martell and I, we've actually been married for 11 years. And so been together for 13. And we got married, I was 22, and he was 26.
Okay. All right. And you, Letitia?
Marcel and I, we've been married for 13 years. We just celebrated our 13th year anniversary on the 2nd. Thank you. So, yeah, 13 years.
13 years. And the newbie in the group. Kimmy.
We celebrated our 1-year anniversary on August the 20th.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Now, we saw you all. We saw the wedding in the first half of the season. I'm going to ask you, we talked a little bit, I mentioned this a little bit before we started, but getting married with these two ladies getting married when they were a lot younger, you getting married after you kind of experienced a little bit more of life and marrying someone that had been married before and had children. How was that for you? Was this a decision that you made solely with your heart, or do you think that you made the decision like a lot of women talk about, okay, I got to make a smart decision when I become a little bit more seasoned in life, find someone that's a better fit for my lifestyle than just throwing in the towel and doing it based on love?
I think as I got older, mine was based on love. Mine was definitely based on love because I could take care of myself at this point. So I wasn't, some women rely on making sure they have a man that can take care of them and pay the bills and get me this and get me that. And that wasn't my focus at all, And I think as I got older, one, I was less tolerant of foolishness. And I think the older you get, when people act a nut, he's like, I don't have to deal with that. I think you know what you want when you're older, and you see it earlier. You see red flags earlier. I think that was a benefit. I think part of the double-edged sword, though, is that you're kind of set in your ways. So when you're a little bit older, you don't get to grow together. You don't get to learn a lot of new stuff and build together. You're kind of set in your ways. This worked for me, and this is how I want to do it. And he may be, this worked for me, and this is how I want to do it. So that part, I think, makes it a little harder because you have to let go of some of those things in order to kind of blend that family when you're a little bit older.
Right. Well, that's a good point because ironically, we see both Melody and Letitia, you guys there's been a set way for your marriage, especially for you, Letitia, where this has been what we do. And now, as you become a different, moving into a different part of your life as a woman, your needs sometimes change. So where you may have started off with this being the dynamic of our relationship, this is now changing. And I think that's the amazing part about watching the show is that you see that even though you can get married at 22 or 23, you still are a different person later in life. So how are you guys managing to kind of shift the dynamic of where you started as a couple to where you are now that you're both grown, Letitia?
Well, like Kimmy mentioned, she said that, you get to grow together, and she missed out on that by not getting married so young. So with Marcel and I, for me, it was, I graduated from college, I got married, had my first child. So all these major events happened for me in my life back to back. So throughout our marriage, we really dated, because we only dated for 6 months before he proposed to me, and then the next year we was married. So we was like, we'll just date throughout our marriage because we knew we wanted to be together. And it was just, we was going through the marriage and growing and changing. Once we started having kids, it's like, okay, you're going to go out there and work hard. You don't have to work as hard. You should stay home with the kids. I'm like, you know what? You're right. I'll take care of home. And you are get out there, you make the money. But then, as you see, once the kids got a little bit older, I'm like, you know, I've always been a hard worker. It's time for me to go out here and get back into the workforce and work. And also, I want to help you out. I don't want you to work as hard because I'm able to help and contribute towards the household as well, so we can spend more time together. So that's where you see me throughout the next season of the show. You see me growing. I'm going back to school. I'm also working on things.
Another degree, because you have a master's, and you're
I
going to
do.
get another.
I'm getting a master's in real estate development because our focus is commercial real estate. My husband is a general contractor, so I'm like, you don't have to focus on both sides of it. You focus on general contracting. I focus on the development side, and we can work together and team together.
Right, team together. I like that. Now, Melody, you and your husband seem to initially be that power couple when you guys first started. It seemed like you had your thing going on, and he had his going on, and you guys came together to kind of create that. What everybody, I think, now is kind of, especially in current culture, is kind of aspires to be the couple that looks like they have everything together. So that they've got, it's the good-looking guy, the good-looking girl, he's got the great job, she's doing the same thing. Was the relationship built kind of like that, these two powerful entities coming together, or is that something that you guys built during your time together?
I'm glad you mentioned that. That's a very good question. I want to say that you said we look like this power couple. We still are. You know what I mean? Like, we're still doing things together in business. And I tell people all the time that just because you're a power couple, this is where society kind of gives that misconception, doesn't mean that you're a perfect couple.
Right.
And unfortunately, we have not seen a lot of people who are just real and raw with their relationship and where their relationship is.
Right.
There are things people just don't talk about. It's like, no, you don't talk about that. This stays, push this under the rug. It stays in the house. So you don't really get to really know that some of the struggle that you're experiencing in your marriage or relationship, it's not just you. It's been around. It's happened to several women and men in marriages, but no one talks about it.
Right.
So for us, it was definitely two powerful people who were driven, who had like the determination to be super successful in life and wanted that, who came together and then were able to blossom and grow together. And I think one of the most important things is that, especially whenever you get together with someone and you're young, right? Knowing that we're going to change and we're going to grow, because if you're not growing, in 10 years from now you're the same person, I'll be like, what you doing? Like, come on, what you doing, right? But the important thing is making sure that you're growing in the same direction.
Right.
As long as you're growing in the same direction, as long as those morals, those values, those things that were very important to you in the beginning remain the same, there's nothing wrong with growing. Conflict happens when you start growing in different directions. So, like I said, to this day, we're still together doing wonderful things, but that doesn't mean we're the perfect couple.
Not the perfect couple.
There you go.
I absolutely agree with that. I think one of the things you said, everyone can probably attest to, is that there's no such thing as a perfect couple. And any couple, I don't really know one that has been together a substantial amount of time that hasn't dealt with some huge issues.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to be honest and say what everybody's thinking. Infidelity is something that we've seen. You talk to women that have been married 35, 40 years. I was talking to one of my mentors, and she said, oh, baby girl, of course that happened. That's just something that we got through. And so I think that's not been something that people were comfortable talking about. That's something that we've seen your relationship kind of go through in Living Color. First of all, how has that been for you to happen to relive that, watching it on television?
I will say, I'd be lying if I say that it wasn't almost a continuous push, a button being pushed every time I, have to kind of relive it by watching it. And I think that more than anything for me and for Martell, honestly, we wanted to be transparent and we wanted to make sure that, hey, if we're going to do a reality show, we're going to show our reality. We're not going to put on for the cameras. We're not going to act like everything's perfect, right? And so that was the main thing for us. I would say as a woman going through something as major as that, it's hurtful. Yeah. It's a lot of pain. At times I know I went through a point where I was depressed, and I had to get to a place where I said, you know what? I can't stay here in this hole. I have to get out of this because I have so much more and such a greater purpose.
Right.
Where I can't afford to stay in this hole, you know? So I had to learn how to uplift myself every day, pull from those strong women like the woman you spoke of who's been there before. And you'd be surprised at the encouragement and those conversations that they will have with you to let you know you can get through this and you'll be okay. No matter how the end ends up coming out, you're gonna be okay still.
Right.
So.
Right, I definitely think that. Before we go to break, I want to ask Kimmy and also Letitia, how has it been for you guys as sister friends trying to help Melody and support her without that kind of spilling over into the issues at your house as well? Have you found that balance of being able to support her and not feel like you're not, you're allowing their problems to become your problems?
I usually try to mind my business. However, in the case of Melody and I in particular, on the onset, as friends collectively, I didn't feel like we were as close as her and Tisha. Okay. And so I didn't just give her as much support as she felt she needed, and she voiced that to me. Okay. Because I'm usually like over here, and if you want me, then you come to me and you tell me that you need me. Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's my honest platform for us, and we were working on that part because I didn't know that she felt like she needed my support until we had conversation about it. And so honestly, I probably didn't give her near as much as I should have.
That's honest. That's because sister support is just, to me, it's just about as equally supportive as what you need at home. What about you, Letitia?
And well, for us, because Melody is my friend and also Martell, so my husband and I, we was both there to support both of them. Marcel, when he first heard about it, he rushed over to be by Mel's side and to help her and Martell in any way possible. I mean, we give really good advice, and I felt like I was there for Mel. I was just trying to be there for her the best way I knew how to be there for her. But when someone is going through that, you don't really know what to do or what to say. So you try to just put yourself in that situation, like, okay, what would I want somebody to do for me if I was going through that? So that's how I was able to be there for her. And as far as Marcel, I don't think it really affected our household because we was all mad at Martell. So I was like, I don't like him either. Like, I hate him too. So
that is one thing we saw the guys saying, man, what are you doing? It's messing up, not only because you guys have a business together. Right. We're going to get more into that. We're going to take a quick break. If you're just tuning in, we are here with the ladies from Love Marriage Huntsville. We're getting into the realities of marriage. You guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. the relationship goals and the beautiful pictures that you see on Instagram, but the real life stuff, the ups and downs, the stuff that actually makes it work, and the things that actually challenge it. My guests are, of course, stars of Love and Marriage Huntsville. I have Letitia, Melody, and Kimmy joining me. The ladies here. We didn't give the guys a voice because the ladies are going to give us a better story. So speaking about that, I'm going to start with you, Letitia. We talked about the fact that you and your husband were able to have conversation and agree on certain things. What do you think are the things that make you guys work as a couple? Like the things that we may not see on television or that other people may not see, but those personality traits that make you guys work as a couple?
I think it is. We really don't have the answer to everything. It's like we're living and we're trying and we're doing the best that we can with what we have. We've never been married before. So it's a trial and error. Our first 5 years of marriage, it was really, really tough for us. We had to figure out how to make our marriage work for us. You know, the whole stay-at-home mom, but although I love that opportunity and I'm happy I made that choice, it was difficult for me in the beginning. I fought tooth and nail. I didn't want to do it because I was so independent. So I had to learn how to be interdependent on Marcel and work together as a team. So, and also in that process, I felt like, I lost a little bit of me because I'm like, this was not the plan I had for my life. I worked hard in school. I interned every year. I wanted to make sure I had a good job. My focus was career. Marcel and I, we met my senior year in college and we got married that next year. So it wasn't like a plan. I wasn't that one that always thought about, I'm ready to get married. I want to get married. And then we never discussed staying at home. So I think that's something you definitely want to discuss when you go into a marriage, is that if that's something your husband wants and a man wants from his wife, you need to let her know up front. But I think now it's just, babe, I want to discover me. I'm trying to find me again. So how do I figure out how to balance mother, wife, in career? So that's where you see me at now. It's like, Marcel, you're going to have to make some sacrifice also. You're probably going to have to stay with the kids a little bit longer. You may have to pick them up from school, for me. So he may not be on board with it, but we're just going to have to make it work. So we're trying to figure it out and trying to balance it all. And that's one of the reasons I started my podcast, because as Mel said, someone, they don't just talk about that. And I wanted to know different people's secret. Like, what do you do to make it work in your household? So that we can figure out a plan for us.
Right.
So.
Right. No, I love that. I want to ask him, because a lot of women, especially when you're single for a long period of time, you see women that are married and have children, and they seem to lose themselves. Their personality becomes one of wife and mother as opposed to who they are. And sometimes standing on the other side of marriage and looking at that, it can be scary.
Yeah.
Kimmy, did you worry about losing that part of yourself when you decided to get married? And do you look forward to kind of giving up a little bit of your independence and becoming a wife?
No, I didn't look forward to it. But that's just because I'm an insanely independent person. I just always have been. I was a single parent. I raised my son. I got my undergraduate, my graduate. I'm an executive director. I'm a nurse. I'm a real estate agent. I co-own a catering company. I like work. I work. I do stuff. And so, no, it never crossed my mind that I would have to give up some of me.
Right.
However, you do.
Right.
You do. And that was big for me. And that took a lot of work and effort, because it never crossed my mind. I thought I was going to be me and you were going to be you, and we were going to ride into the sunset. And it doesn't always work like that. So you absolutely have to give up of some of yourself in order to make that blend work.
Right.
Absolutely.
What was it about your husband that made you be willing to make that sacrifice?
He is fine. What did you say?
All of y'all have fun.
He's
husbands.
perfect.
They all have fun.
That's my white chocolate.
Careful what they say. We're not really listening to them because they have fun husbands. So the fact that it's a lot easier to go through stuff when he's fine.
Easy on the eyes, honey.
I'm saying everybody tells me it's fine. I'm not gonna hold none of y'all.
No, seriously though, he's hands down, he has the biggest heart.
Yeah.
He just does. And it's not just for me. It's for his friends. It's for his family. It's for every single person I've met in his life.
Right.
He will give you the shirt off his back if he has it. You had asked us earlier about, supporting the holds and that kind of thing. My personal opinion, he probably rendered the most support out of the 6 of us, out of the 5. He talked to Mel, he talked to Martell. He had gone through a divorce of his own, so he didn't want to see his friends end up in a situation that is tenuous from time to time.
Yeah.
And he renders that kind of support to every person he knows, every person. His
you
heart
guys
is
are
big.
brothers, correct?
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's so funny because I was just so independent also when we first got married, and I had to lose that part of me for Marcel, because, and Kimmy can relate, they're very strong males. Like, they believe in a man should provide for his family and take care of his
That
household.
is a blessing, and those of us that are not married want to make sure you guys know how much of a blessing that is, because that's not every man, And so when you see men that take that step into that role with pride, that's a blessing, and that's something that is definitely not every.
Oh, be
man.
clear. Maurice don't mind that I work.
Yeah, well.
All my 14 jobs, he don't have no issue with at all. That's not a conversation. He wants me to do those 14 jobs and come home and do all the other stuff.
But that was definitely an adjustment because I was raised by a single mom. So I'm like, you gotta go out there, you gotta make things happen. I'm the oldest. So I saw my mom, I had to help her out with my brother. So I'm like, hey, I was built for, to be like an independent woman, take care of things.
Well, that's awesome to see that you have been in a long-standing marriage and it made it work, even though that might not have been what you saw at home. Because a lot of people have this idea that if you didn't see this, you can't emulate it. But you're proof that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Now, Melody.
Yes.
You have some news.
I do.
We saw the news. We want to share with our viewers the news that you have with you today.
Okay. Well, on the trailer, I'm sure most people have watched it by now. I teased that, I think I'm pregnant. And girl, I am. I am.
Cute little baby.
Right.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So I would just gotta ask, so are you and your husband in a good place? Obviously, you have worked some things out. Right. Because there's a little one on the way, but are you guys in a good place now?
It's so interesting that you say that because for sure, definitely, when you're going through something as big as, infidelity, there are ups and downs. There's forward movement, then there's backwards movement.
Right.
Right now, which is what you'll see on episode 1, I am consulting with attorneys. I am weighing my options to see exactly what I want to do. I've never been the person to feel like, because you have children by someone, you have to stay married to them, or you should stay in a relationship because of the kids, because you have kids.
Right.
I think it's more important for your children to see happiness and to see stability and to, see and feel love.
Right.
So you're gonna see some stuff, girl.
So you
episode 1.
I'm not playing with you.
Yeah.
Beyonce said, if you keep doing this, you're gonna lose your life.
Yeah, that's my jam too, by the way. And happy birthday to Beyonce.
Absolutely. Well, you guys, please let's let everybody know when they can see when the second half of the first season starts, so they know when to tune in and just what are the highlights this year. Obviously, one of the highlights is happening right now. So let people know. I'll start with Kimmy. What you can expect, what they need to tune in for this season.
Listen to me. Turn your TV on.
Turn the TVs on.
Saturday on OWN.
Okay.
9/8 Central. It's a new time, so make sure you get that. Don't miss it because you think it's gonna be 10 and 9.
Yeah.
9/8 Central.
Saturday,
on
9/8 Central.
Everybody's kind of trying to pick up where we left off. Our particular conversation, we still got to work our blended family. We still got to work our strong, independent roles into a marriage. And so they want to talk about that. We want to get through that.
Yeah.
He would like for me to work less. We got to talk about that. And we kind of got to get through that. So you got to come on over and watch.
On Saturday night. Melody, I was a little irritated with you last year. The first half of the first season, just because everybody working together as one group, all these amazing Black families, and you were just like, look, if y'all can't get it together, we don't need them. Do you guys manage manage to keep the group together, the entire real estate group with all of you all?
The comeback group?
The comeback group. Is
Oh, you're going to have to stay tuned.
Remember I
You're
said
going to have to stay
lunch on
tuned.
Saturday?
Right.
You remember that part?
Right. What I will say is that, and I say this all the time, all of us have a heart where we genuinely want to help our community and we genuinely want to give back to the community, and group or not, we're going to do that regardless. But if you want to know if the comeback group stays together or not, Saturdays on, gotta tune in.
Gotta tune in. Okay, well I have one last question. I won't ask Melody because she's already, we see her and we're gonna watch Saturday. She's gonna tell me to watch Saturday. But I want to ask the other two ladies, we asked this question on our social media. For marriage, overall, is infidelity a deal breaker?
It's
overall?
A deal breaker for me.
It's a deal breaker
yes,
for you.
because I feel like I sacrificed a lot to get to where we're at right now in our marriage. And for me, it would be very difficult for me to forgive that part because I feel like that's a choice. You know, you can choose not to do that. Just like I have guys cheating on me and I choose not to do it. So I feel the same way for my husband.
Women often choose not to.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I was like, oh.
I think most women.
Yeah.
Kimmy, what do you think? Is infidelity a deal breaker for you?
I want to be of the mindset that today it's a deal breaker, but I'm an adult enough to know
I like
that when the rubber meets the road,
You don't know.
you sometimes don't know. Like, I mean, my honest opinion is it's a deal breaker right now.
Okay.
Tell me right now, my answer is yes.
That's fair.
But I'm in love with that dude. So if the rubber meets the road differently,
Right.
there's a chance.
You never know. You never know.
You don't.
And that's what I mean, Martell and I had that conversation when we first got married. And I was, young. And at that time I said what Tisha said, which was, if you ever cheat on me, just so you know, I'm going to leave you now.
Right.
You know?
You said that.
Oh, I said that. I said that. But just like Kimmy said, you don't know what you will be willing, especially if you've sacrificed and you've built together and you have, you have all these things you've worked hard and this flaw versus all of this good. Man, am I gonna go ahead and just leave? You don't know until it happens to you. So what I love to tell people, especially, when I do my Mimosas with Melody event, which is pretty much a women's empowerment brunch, I love to say, make sure you say, as I know of, or how I feel right now, I would not.
That's big, because sometimes you don't know, and then the information comes and you're kind of sucker punched and you don't know.
Yeah.
But I appreciate all three of you guys sharing your stories. We appreciate the example of Black love and Black marriage, because it's not perfect, and I think it's great that you're showing that there are many different sides to it.
Not just Black love, look, girl, it's all love out here. I mean, this is, you talk, at my event, there are people from all kinds of races there, and they've experienced the same. Women, a lot of us experience the same thing.
About the same thing is you don't know what you were doing till you're put in that situation. I feel like some things you have to set your standards for. And certain things like you wouldn't do. And that for me, just like I know a lot of female deals with that. Like a lot of people may be like, I wouldn't want to be a stay-at-home mom if I want to work. But it's just certain things, it's like, no, I can't. I just can't shake it.
No, I think that's fair.
So,
I think that's fair, but I also can relate. I think at different times in your life, where you are as a woman is just different. You know what I mean? So I think it's just very different. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Oh, thank you. You were awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Having you guys. You guys, please tune in Saturdays, 9, 8 Central, Love and Marriage Huntsville. These beautiful ladies, again, have equally beautiful husbands. I don't know where they found their husbands, but maybe they can share that with us so that
Alabama
single
A&M.
women.
Alabama A&M.
Alabama A&M.
HBCU.
If you are a young woman watching,
There you go.
paying attention. Please, pay attention. No, seriously, this has been Christal. Thank you guys for tuning in to Reality Check on Rolling Out. We'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Christal.
Thank you so much.